What's up, everyone? Mike for CMCC Builds here, and what a week it's been. Apparently, monks are quite the contentious topic. Who knew? I had no plans to do any other videos on monks, at least not this quickly, but a lot of people either really liked or disliked that last video, and several critiques were directed not just towards the video content, but towards me. So I figured I should address some of those while also filling in a few gaps from the last video, including a DPR analysis of a range monk build that I didn't include in the last video, but I really wanted to. First, it seems there is a lot of confusion among some over the difference between the words attempt and attack. A stunning strike attempt is not the same thing as an attack. To attempt a stunning strike, you must have already landed the attack. The rules of stunning strike make this necessary when you hit with a melee weapon attack. So when I'm speaking about stunning strike attempts, it is by definition used on an attack that has already landed. Now for some this may seem disingenuous or intentionally deceptive. I'm not exactly sure why that would be given the clarity of the definitions and the statements made, but I will assume all those criticisms are made in good faith, so let's address them with the math. In my day job, where I've worked in analytics for over 18 years or in an analytics team for more than a decade, I'm often asked what the best or better metric is. My answer is generally the same. There is no best metric, only metrics that answer different questions. My point in the stunning strike section of the last monk video was to illustrate how binomial distribution greatly increases the chance of a single event happening with those multiple attempts. I made no attempt in that section to address the probability of two different events occurring, a successful attack roll and successful stunning strike attempt. Perhaps that was a failing on my own part. Of course, attack rolls were factored into DPR calculations. I made that clear in the specific monk build sections, but some people may have missed that detail. And again, assuming good faith on their part, they wanted to see this other question answered to provide more context on the stunning strike value. That question being, what are the chances of stunning strike landing per attack and per multiple attacks? A valid question worth attempting to answer. I just wish people would approach this conversation with that attitude. Hey, you answered this question, but I like this other one answered too, rather than attempting to misrepresent my point, the data, and my beginning and ending stance on the subject matter. But hey, it's the internet, right? So let's go ahead and answer that more complicated question. What is the probability stunning strike lands per 1 attack, 2 attacks, 3 attacks, and 4 attacks? Obviously, there is no single answer for this. All the variables can change depending on ability scores, monster save bonuses, player level, etc. But we'll use the same example I used in the first video, a level 13 monk facing a 13 CR creature. Treant Monk gave these numbers in his analysis. Let's consider we use Flurry of Blows. You're probably going to hit 2 times. By the way, this is a little deceptive. Your chance to hit a creature of your CR rating is most likely 65% without advantage, so you'll land 2.5 of 4 attacks or 5 of 8 over 2 rounds. He continues, your chance of stunning a single CR5 creature, about 80% with 3 key cost. The chance of stunning a single CR9 creature, 44% with 3 key. So we are spending a massive amount of our resources and it will probably fail. Here Chris is using a +9 for CR9 con save, which is not the number I found. I was using a +5.47 con save for CR9. I'm not sure where the difference is coming from other than just using different sources, and I'm not entirely clear where that 44% number is coming from either. For us to arrive at the answer, first we need to calculate the chance of 2 dependent variables occurring, landing an attack and having a creature fail the stunning strike save. In the example we used in the last video, a level 13 monk facing a CR 13 creature has a 65% chance of landing an attack without advantage. Don't worry, we will also look at the Shadow Monk build's built-in triple advantage, but this one has a 45% chance the creature fails the stunning strike saving throw. The chance of both of those events happening at the same time is 29.25%. So here we've answered the question, what are the chances of landing a stunning strike per single attack? And yikes, those chances are not good. I've led you all astray, the critics were right! But again, you have multiple attacks in a round, which increases the chances of events occurring a single time. In this case, that single event is actually 2 events occurring at once, a landed attack and failed saving throw. So with 2 attacks, your chance to land 1 stunning strike jumps all the way up to 49.94%. With a 3rd attack, it's now 64.59%. And that 4th attack, 74.94%. And what people seem to miss in the last video is that you're not actually spending 4 key points on Stunning Strike in this scenario. You spend key points on Stunning Strike whenever you actually hit, which is only 65% of the time. And you'd have that same 65% chance to land a single Stunning Strike with 3 attacks. No need for Flurry of Blows, and you'd only spend 2 key on Stunning Strike. Now, in case it wasn't clear from the last video, all of this is taken into consideration in the DPR numbers because all damage calculated already considers the chance to hit, and the value of Stunning Strike, as discussed, was simply adding advantage to attacks when it's successful. For fun, let's go ahead and look at the Shadow Monk that had built-in advantage available to them, with Blind Fighting, Darkness, and Elven Accuracy. What do those numbers look like? Well, in this case, the chance to land an attack on an AC 18 creature is a very high 95.7%. Chance of a stunning strike success is the same 45%, so in this case the chance to have both events occur drops to just 43.07%, with 2 attacks that jumps to 67.58%, 81.54% with 3 attacks, and 89.49% with 4 attacks. So if my previous video was misleading, that was not my intent. I clearly stated I was looking at only stunning strike attempts because I thought that illustrated the effects of binomial distribution more effectively. Apparently that caused some confusion, so I hope this does the opposite and clarifies my point and the effect of iterative probability on these outcomes. As you increase the opportunities to use stunning strike via additional attacks, and more specifically additional successful attacks, you will greatly increase your chances of landing a single stunning strike, which can and should be devastating for the enemy you're facing. If I'm wrong, let me know why in the comments below. Another critique I saw was with my use of precision attack and the Battlemaster superiority dice. As described in that video, my use was suboptimal and not at all recommended for actual play. I used the 4 superiority dice on the first 4 attacks after a short rest and applied the plus 4.5 bonus to all those attack rolls. When used in conjunction with Sharpshooter's -5/+10 ability, that boost you get, even with the suboptimal strategy, is significant. Ideally, I'd be able to find a manageable way to only include the bonuses on misses, but no one was able to provide a mathematically sound option, which ties into the next issue. Focused aim, like precision attack, allows you to give yourself a bonus to attack rolls when you miss or roll low. A point of difference, perhaps a major one, is that you don't actually know if you've missed with precision attack, while focused aim requires that you have already missed with the attack. Even then, the creature AC is very likely unknown in both cases. And even whether or not the AC is known itself is an unknown for us. Each table runs differently, each combat plays out differently. Some people can infer the AC, some DMs reveal the AC, some people look it up, and for others it remains unknown the whole combat. To make this possible, let's assume we have a pretty good idea if a roll misses or hits, when do we apply these effects, and what is the quantifiable result of using the ability? To my knowledge, no one has answered these questions yet. First, we're going to assume perfect information. In other words, we know exactly what the enemy AC is, and therefore we know if a roll hit or missed, and by how much. I'm taking the user error or guesswork out of this to make the math possible. We're also going to assume you never get advantage or disadvantage, which is an assumption we make for most DPR calculations. With perfect information, we know that 10% of the time we're going to spend 1 key point to get a +2 bonus to turn a miss into a hit. And another 10% of the time we're going to spend 2 key points to get a +4 bonus to turn a miss into a hit. That means 20% of the time we're spending 1.5 key to turn misses into hits. Using my 8 rounds of combat between short rests DPR model, see my last video here for more details. That means with extra attack, we'll spend a single key point on 1.6 attacks, and 2 key points on another 1.6 attacks. That's 10% of 16 attacks. That ends up being 1.6 key spent on +2 attacks and 3.2 key spent on +4 attacks, for a total of 4.8 key spent between short rests. How many key do we have at level 5 when the key fueled attack focused aim combo turns on? 5. So as long as you don't spend key on anything else and don't have more than 16 rounds of combat between short rests, you can loop this and never run out. If you're a Shadow Monk, you may want to throw up a Darkness or Pass Without a Trace, so obviously you can't spend 5 key on this combo. You need to adjust the numbers accordingly. Now we need to know what is the value add here. How much damage did we add? We know the DPR from our attack action and extra attack. We know the value of a martial arts attack as a bonus action. We also know that 20% of the time will turn 0 damage into a successful sharpshooter hit, so we can take the sharpshooter damage and multiply it by 20% to get damage added per attack. And since we take 2 attacks in a round, we won't ever use this on a bonus action because you lose out on the additional attack by doing that. We double that number in our DPR calculations. The combo then kicks in as spending the key points for an attack bonus allows another attack as a bonus action instead of your normal martial arts attack. So if you're using a ranged weapon like a musket, you can also use sharpshooter with that bonus action attack. So we need to calculate the difference in value of the musket attack versus the martial arts attack and multiply that by the 20% of the time it will occur to figure out bonus action damage increases. Adding all of these together, main attacks, bonus action attacks, missed attacks turned into hits, and bonus action attack increases, we can get our total damage from key fueled and focused aim. For precision attack, since we don't technically know if we hit or miss, even if the player can infer a hit or miss based on previous rolls, I'm actually content using my previous method moving forward. Some people apparently thought it was unfair that I used multiclassing for the Shadow Monk Battlemaster build, but didn't multiclass any of the other builds, especially ones like the Pan Paladin. Just to reiterate there, the point of those builds was to make very simple and easily optimized builds that could be put together quickly and without much room for error on the user's part. And we should also consider that a straight 1 to 20 paladin is extremely powerful. Is the Sorkiden more powerful? Well, it kind of depends on exactly when we're comparing. Perhaps that's a video for another day. The important takeaway is that those straight class builds are still quite powerful and pretty good representations of what martials can do in terms of DPR. I don't want that to be confused with me saying that they are the most optimized martial builds possible. I don't believe that, and I'm not implying that. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look at the additional monk build and see how it compares. The Gunk, or Gun Monk build, comes directly from Pack Tactics' last video. It takes a Shadow Monk, gives it a musket, relies on the focused aim key-fueled attack combo, and then dips into Battle Master for the archery fighting style, for superiority dice, and maneuvers. Eventually it dips into Ranger for even more crazy Gloomstalker antics. This is a very similar build to the previous Shadow Monk build I presented, but this one uses custom lineage, relies on ranged attacks, and forgoes the Darkness Elven Accuracy combo of that former build. Essentially, it gives up on triple advantage in order to stay out of melee and use sharpshooter, archery, focused aim, and precision attack to really boost damage by ensuring that many of those usually missed sharpshooter attacks turn into hits. So how does it stack up? Using the methodology laid out previously in this video, we can see that at level 5, because this build doesn't multiclass yet, the Gunk is doing 31 damage per round, which is 51% over the Warlock baseline. At level 9, with 4 levels in Fighter, Action Surge, Battle Master maneuvers, and more importantly, the archery fighting style, along with max dexterity, DPR jumps to 45.16. And then at level 13, with 4 levels in Gloomstalker, things get wild because now you basically have permanent advantage. Either you're in Darkness and have advantage, or when you're in Light, you can cast Darkness from Shadow Monk, use your blind fighting to attack enemies within 10 feet with advantage. You can even engage in melee without worrying about opportunity attacks. Gloomstalker's extra attack and extra D8 on that attack also double with Action Surge on the first round. Now I have no idea how often you'll need to cast Darkness, which eats Precious Key and an action. You would lose around 7 DPR if you have to use a round 1 action to cast Darkness and spend those 2 key points. Assuming you're not spending those key on Darkness, the Gunk is doing 61.54 damage at level 13, 115% over baseline, which brings the level 5 through 13 average up to 45.9 DPR for a monk build. That's 98% over the baseline, basically double the baseline. Again, if you don't have perfect information and guessing enemy AC is a real thing, then these numbers will go down. If you have a longer adventuring day or less short rest frequency, then these numbers will of course be lower. But why are you playing a monk in this scenario? Optimize for your table, folks. You don't build characters in a vacuum. And more on that topic another day. Thanks again, everyone. I'm thankful for you all. Feel free to let me know how wrong I am in the comments below. If this video does get posted to the forums, I probably will make less of an effort to respond there. So if you're looking for a response, YouTube is the better place to comment. If you want to see more of this type of content or my fictional character builds, please consider subscribing. And until next time, be well, everyone.